What's up guys, welcome to the new video. Today is an exciting day. We're gonna rip out the M10 out of the E28. A lot of stuff going on. As you can see, we're also working on the van, but I guess that's not really a thing you guys want to see. Maybe you do, let me know. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it.
I need to stop. I've been doing too much, I've been running too fast, I've been testing my luck. I've been living cloud nine, I've been at it all night, I've been feeling so loved. I've been waking up lit, I've been making up shit, I've been spilling my guts. I've been feeling so blessed, but stressed all day, so I'm living out my dreams like every night. I love my life.
Alright guys, so the first thing we are going to do is obviously drain all the fluids out of the engine. So the motor oil, the coolant, and also all the fluid that is in the steering system. And right here I'm disconnecting everything that has to do with the spark, with the rotating cap, removing it from the chassis so it comes out with the engine. Then next up, we go inside the car. Behind the glove box we have the ECU, which we have to disconnect and take out of the car, and then we can run the loom through the firewall and out with the engine. The other ECU will be in the same spot, but just down in the glove box, not high up, because yeah, it doesn't have the bolt holes like the original ECU has. But everything should be nice and tucked up in the glove box, so it should look somewhat OEM. Basically, when all of that is done, the engine is already ready to go out. So yeah, it's very easy to get one of these little 4 cylinders out. Not a lot of work, only a few connectors to disconnect, and yeah, obviously everything under the car, which is the same as with any engine. But as I said before, I've already done all that. So yeah. Taking out an engine isn't that interesting, so I'm going to go quick over this and pay a lot more attention and detail on actually putting the M50 in the E28. So hope you enjoy.
Alright, so she's out. Here she is. The little M10 1.8 liter. It's never ever going to go back into this car.
Such a tiny gearbox.
I'm gonna have to use some parts from this engine, like this connector. This is the most important one. This connects the fuse box to the engine. So yeah, make sure I keep those. But for the rest, maybe I need some hoses, I'm not sure. I've seen it on the N10, the controls for the heating. They go through a valve that is connected here behind the engine. I'm gonna show you. I took it off. So this is the valve. So this controls if warm coolant goes through the heater, and it sits right here like this. So I'm gonna have to transfer this if I want the heating to work. So that's why I kept the both hoses from it. And with a bit of luck, I will be able to put it in here and it should line up pretty well. So that's hopefully not a headache. Here is the good old M50. I have simplified it a little bit because I don't know if I explained before, but here you have like the heater for the throttle valve, whatever. Yeah, we're all deleting that because we don't want hot air to enter our engine. So I'm just going to connect it through to simplify things. Then I still have to figure out if I will be able to use the reservoir for the steering fluid from the M50 or the one from the E28, because the lines, there's a difference in lengths, and I'm not sure which one is going to fit. I ordered from E28 goodies also. I ordered a special high pressure line, but it didn't come in yet. So yeah, I'm not gonna wait for that. It's relatively easy to reach when the engine is in the car, so I'm not too bothered. What also came in are the engine mounts from E28 goodies, and they're looking really nice. So here they are. This is the left one, and this is the right one. As you can see, I think it's nice CNC machined, TIG welded and powder coated. So yeah, they're pretty nice pieces. I'm glad those came in because they are the most important pieces yeah, for the whole swap. So I'm glad that I don't have to start MacGyvering my own engine mount, because I don't think I would be very good at that. As you know, I bought this car from a mate who swapped a 3.5 in it, and then later he swapped back in the M10. And to properly have the cooling working from the M10, he made a fan shroud out of aluminium. Well, not a fan shroud, just a shroud for the radiator. I'm going to remove this part because I'm going to need those extra space for the engine. But I'm going to leave this one in and cut it more open to the size of an E36 radiator, because I'm going to use an E36 radiator. Yeah, that drops right in, and then I don't have to juggle with the hoses. So we're going to do that right now. Take off this panel and this one, and then we'll see under here. Yeah, make as much room as we can to make ourselves easy. Well, easy. Now I'm going to mount the engine mounts to the engine block. In order to do it on the right side, I have to remove the front manifold to reach the 40 volts, because the manifold is in the way. So it's a bit inconvenient, but not really an issue. Then when that is done, we're going to drop the engine in place and see how well it fits. For the engine mount on the other side, we have a little issue. So it has to be mounted here, these four bolts. But as you can see, there's something in the way. It's one of the supports for the intake manifold. There's two of them, one here and one that sits here. It's currently taken off also. And there's no hole made in the engine mount for that. So I was thinking drilling a hole in the engine mount, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna drill a hole in a new nice powder coated piece. So I think I'm just gonna leave this arm out and put in the other one. That should be enough to hold up the manifold, because it's already connected here with a lot of yeah, bolts or nuts. So I think just one here to support the weight of it should be enough. So I think that's the better solution than cutting up a nice new piece. Alright, we have successfully installed the engine mounts. Wow, what an accomplishment. So now I'm gonna test fit the engine in the car. Just without the gearbox. Just see how it sits, if with clearances and all that, if that's good. And maybe it can stay the first time. Depends if I can get the gearbox on, because I've never put on a gearbox on an engine when the engine is in the car. I've always put engine in with the gearbox connected to it, but that's gonna be a really tight fit here. So I'm gonna see what I'm gonna have to do. But yeah, it's exciting to get this thing in there. Here we have our radiators. I've put them all three together, the ones that I have, to make a comparison. So the first one is the original from the M10. Yeah, I'm obviously not going to use that one anymore, but just for reference, I think it's interesting to see. This one is from an E36 M50 with air conditioning, because with air conditioning, you have this extra, about 10 centimeters extra radiator. That's the one I'm gonna use. This one is from an E34 M50, so it's even bigger, as you can see. An extra, I think 20% or so. I would love to use this one because yeah, the bigger the radiator, the better the cooling, but it's actually too big and it does not fit between the frame rails. I'm gonna show you. So if I want to put it here, as you can see, it runs into the frame rail, and I'm not going to notch my frame rail because that's just stupid. And the E36 one is a perfect fit. Like this. See, just perfect clearance on both sides, and also in height. Yeah, it's perfect. So this is the one I'm gonna use. These are the mounts from the original radiator. I'm gonna grind those off and use these rubber pieces, put those here, and then that's where the radiator is gonna sit. So it's gonna sit really against the front as much as I can to give myself the most space for the engine. Alright guys, the engine is in its place, and my dad helped me with connecting the gearbox onto it under the car. It was a little hassle, but it was alright. I thought it would be a lot worse. So it's looking pretty good. It's actually a little bit more space than I thought, like in the back. I thought it would be really close to the firewall, but it's alright. And the front is just enough to fit a radiator, and I think the original fan will be able to use. We have encountered a problem though. I'm gonna try and show you under the car. Okay, so here we are. I used the original M10 gearbox support. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, but basically the gearbox is twisted too much to the right. The the shift linkage, you see, it's not nice and straight or flat or nice in the middle above. So that in itself isn't a problem, but it creates another problem because here we lose a bit of travel with the shifter on one side. So I don't know if it's gonna be a problem, but it could be. Well, it could cause me not to be able to engage first or reverse or something. And as you can see here, this rubber, the gearbox should be resting on it, but it's actually
pulling it up, so it's only resting on this one. So I'm guessing the whole engine and gearbox is tilted too much to the passenger side. So these are the mounts that I got, the rubbers, a lot sturdier. They're not hollow, so I hope they do the trick. So to change them, we're gonna have to raise the engine off of the rubbers and take them out on both sides. I'm gonna start with this side. This is the side that has to come up. So maybe if the one fixes it, I'll leave the other in. But we'll have to see if that works or not. Okay, we changed these guys. So now I'm gonna check under the car and hopefully it is better now. I have my doubts. It looks like it's a little bit better, but still it's not perfect, unfortunately. So I guess we will be using some spacers. Okay, here we are. I made these absolutely beautiful spacer plates out of 1mm sheet metal, and I'm going to put them in between here, so on the rubber but under the engine mount, to space the engine up on this side, so it does a bit of a rotation. So I'm gonna see if that helps. If it helps, I'm going to paint these so they look a bit nicer and maybe make them round. But for now, they're good like this. So we're gonna try it. So I'm gonna take off that bolt, but on the right side I'm gonna leave it. That way that side stays in place and only this side comes up. I've put the spacers in now, but it's still not far enough. It's now 0.8 centimeters of spacer. I don't really want to put a lot more because it just doesn't line up anymore in the back. So I think the problem will be the gearbox, that it's a diesel E28 box, that there will be a difference. So I might have to change it out to make everything easier. But yeah, it's a bummer. I didn't think that I would get stuck on this part. But yeah, that's what happens with swaps, I guess. Okay, it's the next day. We're going to continue on the M50 install. We had the problem with the gearbox not lining up, and I did some research, and apparently the diesel boxes are different. So they have, because the diesel engines are more straight in the engine bay, the gearbox is on in a different angle. So a diesel box will not work on my petrol engine. So we're gonna have to rip the gearbox back out and put that one in. That's a 5-speed from an M50. So the other gearbox is in, fits like a charm. Now also the shifter assembly from the E36 fits very well. So as you can see, it's a little bit more forward, not exactly centered in the hole, but I can reach all gears perfectly. So yeah, I'm just going to use it like this. It's yeah, I'm very glad that this fits, that I don't have to adjust that. So that's another win. The original, the drive shaft from the car does not fit, because there was a 4-cylinder in there. It's a lot shorter,
So the drive shaft was longer. So it's too long for my application. So we'll have to source a 6-cylinder E28 drive shaft. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So yeah, we're getting there. We're gonna end it here for today. I think it's already going to be a pretty long video. I have no clue actually. We made a good progress. I'm actually quite happy. Not as much downfalls and setbacks than I would have expected. So that's always a good thing. So yeah, next time we finish the exhaust, we're gonna do the wiring. So making the adapter, all the wires, I'm going to give a good explanation of what needs to go where. So if you guys want to do this swap, you just have to watch my videos. And yeah, then it's already intake on, radiator on, fill it with fluids, and we'll be pretty damn close to a first startup. So I'm really excited. Yeah, so bear with me. Subscribe if you want to follow the build, if you want to follow the swap. Much more coming. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed and see you next time. Peace!